The final round of the 2025 Northern Talent Cup kicked off yesterday with a wet start here at Assen. It was Finn Crattockville who took an early lead, but a wide moment going into the final sector meant that he yielded the lead back to Lorenzo Pontillo, who started from pole position. But it was the young Finn, Tommy Pekkanen, who was romping up the order. Someone who's not finished inside the top 5 all season long, suddenly, with great confidence, finding his way to the lead. It all got a bit crowded into the hard box, and that was Lorenzo Pontillo who went down, the pole sitter's day ending slightly earlier than anticipated. And then a huge moment for Pekkanen, looking so confident at the front of the field, and a hugely emotional moment for the young Finn as his hopes of his best finish in the championship were tattered. It was Kitzbühel and Crattockville who ended up fighting at the front of the field, exchanging places at the front, but it was Finn Crattockville who emerged on top, having sealed the championship last time out. He took his 11th victory. And now we turn our attention to the final race of the 2025 Northern Talent Cup. Assen has bookended the campaign. We came here at the start of the season on the World Superbike Support Bill in April, and we're ending it with a first time on the British Superbike Support Bill, racing alongside the British Talent Cup as well this weekend. The same Honda NSF 250R machines, a 4-stroke 250cc one-cylinder engine, and it will be Lorenzo Pontillo who gets a second chance from pole position, but in very different conditions. The slick tyres are on. No sign of the rain, although plenty of wind out there. The flags have been flapping an awful lot out there, and we've seen in the various other support races we have here this weekend that has caught out 1 or 2 riders, even at the superbike level. There you can see just how stiff the breeze is out there on what is a rather crisp Dutch morning. So, Belgian Motorcycle Academy rider Lorenzo Pontillo will kick things off. Obviously, the championship has already been decided in favour of Finn Crattockville. It is Robin Seeger who finishes second in the championship going into this one, but starting 9th on the grid. The German Mini Grand Prix champions, the only other race winner so far this year. Now, that looks like the number 78 machine of Tudor de Dea being pushed off the grid. It is indeed. Tudor was due to start from 19th on the grid, but dramas for the young German on his Tudor racing machine. So a shame for him. Looks like if he does manage to get that bike going, it will be from pit lane. But the warm-up lap now underway. And it will be Lorenzo Pontillo leading them off there. He crashed yesterday into the first corner, was one of 2 sort of higher profile incidents that we had during that race. And at this point, they're just kind of out for honour, really, and trying to stop Finn Crattockville. There you can see the advantage he's had. Robin Seeger second in the championship. Tyus Benzel starting on the front row of the grid with the Kuiper Racing machine, rounding out his second season here in Northern Talent Cup. Has had 4 podium finishes to his name so far this season, including last time out at the Nürburgring. 4th position up for grabs as well between Alessandro Binder and Nina Erles and Lorenzo Pontillo, only a few points separating them. So let's go through the grid. Lorenzo Pontillo starting on pole position ahead of Finn Crattockville and Tyus Wenzel on the front row of the grid. Tobias Kitzbühel and Nina Erles and Roman Durdis on the second row of the grid. Then it's Swan and Bran, Alessandro Binder and Robin Seeger, Tom Rollin, Valdemar Melgren, Jalen Corporal on the 4th row of the grid. Then comes Tommy Pekkanen, Thomas Lucas, Victor Kesch. Then Adam Viscasil, Riccardo Bozzati and Zeno Bulti. There'll be a gap where Tudor de Dea was supposed to start. Then Anton Eilerson, Ruben Nyland, Casper Pennings, Manny van Tilburg, Levi Flair, Jason Rudolph and William Krelch, who will round out a 26-rider field as they make their way over to the Timmer chicane. That was a real action spot yesterday, as it has been in many championships in years gone by. And remember, it was Crattockville, Seeger and Kitzbühel who were on the podium yesterday, and Lorenzo Pontillo wasting no time, the first rider to get back to the starting grid. very eager to get this one underway. The sun now even starting to come out a little bit on what has otherwise been a very cloudy morning here in Assen. Very different conditions for the riders to face. James Hayden alongside me as we have the green flag waved at the back of the field. The red light's about to come on, and when they go out, we'll be underway for the final time in 2025. Engine notes rise, lights out, we're racing for one last time in 2025. Lovely start from Lorenzo Pontillo. He gets the launch into the first corner, covering off the inside there, and it's Thijs Wenzel who is the one challenging. Has managed to go past Finn Kratikveld and go into second position. Oh, big moment though on the exit of the Haarbocht.
Yeah, we've seen that a lot here. It tightens up in that first, first section, especially after the start on the first lap, and unfortunately just got caught out.
So I think Zino Bulte was the one involved in that, but managed to survive. There was one rider down and out of the race already, sadly, but it's Lorenzo Pontillo who leads the way out of Struben. Finn Kratikveld has managed to retake second position from Thijs Wenzel going through the first couple of corners. We also have Roman Durdis, the number 7 machine, running very strongly as well, and Kratikveld to the lead now going through turn 6.
Yeah, Kratikveld has been the man of this championship. 11 wins. He lifted the crown last time out, so this is just for fun for him. But he was brilliant yesterday in those awful conditions.
He certainly was. Durdis making a move up into third position. The Czech rider, Czech Mini Grand Prix champion, going through into third position on that FS12 racing machine. That's the Philip Salak run outfit, the former Moto2 racer.
Yeah, we've also got the really super fast Nina Erlis there. She's up into 5th as well, so she's had 3 podiums in this championship this year, the first woman to be on the podium in this class.
Yeah, she was well in that podium fight yesterday as well, ended up coming across the line in 5th position. So making their way around the Ramshoek and into the Timmer chicane for the first time. It's Kratikveld who leads Pontillo, Durdis, and then the number 17 of Thijs Wenzel as they come across the stripe. And Nina Erlas there in 5th position as well. We can see that Robin Seeger, the young German, the number 11 machine, making a manoeuvre as well, or trying to on Alessandro Binder at the very least into the Haarbocht, but wasn't quite able to do anything there. I take back what I said about Zino Bulte, because he's actually made up 7 positions. I think we're going to see what happened now going into the first corner.
Yeah, just on the right-hand side of the picture. Oh no, I tell you what, he gets stood up, he lifts his bike up, and that catches the rider on the outside. So it's one of those sort of chain reactions, nothing he could do. So that was unfortunate.
So I think that was Tobias Kitzbichler actually who was involved in that. They had the 38. And Pekkanen has come into the pit lane as well, so may well have been the other rider involved in that one. So that's a real shame, especially because Tobias Kitzbichler is celebrating his 16th birthday today. Yeah,
it is, but it is your usual man, Kratikveld out front, and they've got to be careful. Yesterday, this was kind of how the first half, 3/4 of the race went, and then he just started to edge a 10th here, edge a 10th there, and then suddenly, before you know it, he'd broken them. So they've got to be a little bit careful, the man who's done all the winning this year. But number 23, Lorenzo Pontillo, he looks still hungry for this. He'll be desperate to have a win, because the only people that won this year have been Seeger and Kratikveld. Yeah, they've shared all the wins between them, but the lion's share to number 8, 11 wins out of 13 races.
Well, Pontillo about to come under fire from Durdis, but the 16-year-old Belgian rider manages to hold second position and looks like he might even challenge Kratikveld.
Yep, and then Nina Erlis, she's moved up to 4th spot now, so she slipped past Wenzel. So look at the lady in 4th, riding really well there.
The number 21 that was on the podium in both races, the first meeting of the season at Assen, and trying to take 3rd position. Yeah. Very close there.
Yeah, you can see her having a look. So she wants to get past. As you say, awkward conditions yesterday, slippy. It had been raining really hard, was drying up, and it was just a slimy, greasy track. Difficult for the riders. But it's your German out front, doing a nice job. Belgian rider in 2nd, and then we've got number 7, the Czech rider, 3rd, and then the German lady Nina Earlis there tucked in fourth.
That's great international field. It's actually the two Kaifa Racing teammates that are squabbling.
Yeah, 11 countries represented here in this Northern European Talent Cup, as it were. So it really is a stack full of riders from everywhere. But this is, I tell you what, Craddockville, this is where he's so dangerous. What I mean, he just starts pinching a bit, and before you know it, it's gone. And you could just see he's having a really good look there.
Well, unfortunately, the floodgates have opened for Lorenzo Pontillo. He's gone from second down to fifth on this lap. And Durdis has now got the Kaifa teammates all over him as well. Well, one of them's gone through, which was Nina Erlas, into second place.
Yeah, Nina Erlas, really, we'd said she's been impressive all weekend. And she's just she left the door open there, though, so she might have a rider up the inside. No, look at that, late on the brake, sweeps it across. Nice bit of riding. The question is anyone going to be able to do anything with number 8, Craddockville? He's starting to brake. What's he got? 0.6 of a second. Fastest lap of the race for him on that last lap, 1:48.2. Compared to Erlas's, she did a 1:48.3, so not a lot in it.
The rain flags are being displayed on the start and finish straight, and I did notice a couple of spots of rain on our turn 1 camera as well. So there it is. Yep, we've got the rain flags being shown.
Yeah, we're not due for a proper rain, but we felt a little bit of spitting earlier, so hopefully that's just in this one section. It is a long, sort of thin track, 2.8 miles, and so it can be raining in one section and not the other. Certainly it's good on this part, but it seems to be at worst on the start-finish, as you say.
Durdis taking second place back from Nina Erlas in a very fast section of the racetrack, going through turn 6 and 7, and that number 7 machine, the FS12,
yeah,
that run machine going very strongly in this race.
Yeah, Durdis, that Czech rider, he's had a 1 second place so far this year, so this would equal his best result of the year. Also number 23 there, Pontillo's just got past Erlas as well. So look, Craddockville is just starting to check out now. This is what he does. When he's unruffled, you know, he has the speed, he deserves to be the champion, but when he's left alone like this and they're dicing, pushed really, really wide. That was Pontillo, the pole man, and that's cost him.
Yeah, it really has, getting pushed out at the very high speed right-hander out of Mandic. And here comes the number 85, which has suddenly arrived on the scene of Alessandro Binder to go through into second place into the Timmer chicane. So that is a great bit of action there from the Binder team rider.
Yeah, another Czech rider. You know, he finished 8th in yesterday's race, so this is a really good result for him.
Looks like the rain is probably more towards the earlier corners on the track, just judging by how much water there is on our cameras. So this could be a more treacherous part of the racetrack. That hasn't really stopped Craddockville setting another fastest lap of the race, though, as we have Pontillo on the inside at Struben.
The only man in the 47s. So the German rider up ahead, some more rain flags coming out there. Then we got the Swiss rider, that's Alessandro Binder. Like you say, he's in second. And then you've got this terrific dive for second, third, fourth, fifth, and how close is that?
So it's Pontillo in 4th position for now, behind Durdis, but closing in on the Czech rider, young man from Most. I wonder how many memories he has of motorcycle racing at that fantastic venue. So there's Craddockville, 1.4 seconds to go, 1.8 actually on this lap so far. He's just absolutely storming clear, but that is an awful lot of rain. That is suddenly pouring down, and we've got a red flag.
Yeah, you could just, suddenly it's just changed, isn't it? So the guys will hopefully be seeing that. He had not backed off. It didn't look like any of them had backed off at all then.
No.
So and we just suddenly started seeing it coming down, so it's the right move. It is definitely had to happen, but we haven't got to 2/3.
No,
and now it's really, look at that. We weren't due in rain. It's there's so much wind that you feel like it will blow over in a few minutes, but you can see the flags really flapping. It's very, very windy here today, and yeah, that's meant to shift along. As I say, we weren't due it, so that's a little bit unfortunate.
No, and unfortunately, like yesterday, we're going to have red flags interrupting today's running. by the looks of it, and it wasn't particularly forecast to be a super heavy shower yesterday either, and today we were much more confident that it was going to be dry, but now we can see.
Yeah, it's, as I say, it's just this little sprinkling, and it would just shift along. We'd done 8 laps. It was a 14-lap race, and so it's showing 10 laps to go on the start-finish board when the red flags came out. So there will be hopefully with a bit of luck, it will be the wind. That shows you a good example of the wind.
Yep, everyone's struggling out there, not just the riders. Just goes to show the conditions that we have here today. But it is a red flag situation on lap 5 of 14. So it was Finn Kratigville who was leading at the time by a quite comfortable margin, with Alessandro Binder and Anina Erlas in the top 3 the last time they went over the start-finish line. So it's unlikely, I think we'll declare a result at this point, but the wet tyres being readied in pit lane if we do get this going again, which there's no reason why it won't happen, and in fact we are going to have a restart over 9 laps, and it's been declared a wet race.
Yeah, that way they won't have to, whatever the conditions do. You can see there, you can see where the rain has come down there. There's a couple of patches where you can see where it's not coming down, so there's a speckled. It's where we are now, it's stopped again. So it's a very, at the moment, without, I don't think anyone will be going out on wets. I think you're going to have to just sort of risk it. It doesn't look like we're here to stay. As you say, it's a quick restart, 9 laps. It hadn't done 2/3 distance, so it was never going to count as a result. They had to restart it, and it's going to be a sprint, which is probably not a bad thing for the rest of the guys, with Kratigville doing his usual disappearing act. It's going to level it up a little bit.
Well, so we've definitely got a mix of strategies here, because that's Valdemar Melgren, who's got a wet front aboard at the very least.
Sorry, did you not? The rules in this one, you have to change to wets when it's declared a wet race.
Yeah, I was going to say, so that there was a bike or two still keeping the slicks on. I think they're just double checking the rule book there potentially. So yeah, it will be wet tyres for the 9-lap restart.
Well, at least that makes everyone on the same cool. So and it obviously safer. These are young riders between the ages of 14 and 17. So they're learning the tricks. So it's a good thing. But it's a very. My point is, it's with that wind, it's not cold. And it dries super quick here. So it probably won't hang along for too long. We will be restarting again soon. Everyone just resetting their pressures.
Roman Durdis, we could just see there, Romeo as he likes to be called apparently. Czech Mini GP champion, also a runner-up in the European Championship as well. So a very promising young talent coming through the Northern Talent Cup, coming up to the end of his first year in the championship, I believe. We've got a lot of great rookie riders, of course Kratigville being one of them. Let's take a look back at what's happened so far in the 4.5 laps that we did have running. Unfortunately, we lost Kitzbichler and Pekkanen in an early tangle out of the hard box, not the 16th birthday celebration that Kitzbichler was looking for. Pontillo and Kratigville squabbling at the front of the field, with Thijs Wenzel also in the podium hunt as well, and then enter Durdis as well for the podium fight, getting up to 2nd position on that FS12 machine. Big moment for Lorenzo Pontillo though, coming through the end of the lap, and then the rain very suddenly arrived and we had to red flag the race. So an update now, the restart will be over 8 laps, so 1 less than we initially anticipated.
Yeah, a proper dash. And James Whittam's just come in the commentary box and he said that rain's gone. It's passed along, so he looks absolutely fine now. Wow. So they'll get him out as quick as you can. And actually, there's going to be they're going to be smoking those wets.
You can see pit lane open in 5 minutes, but the circuit doesn't even look wet at all. I know it drains pretty quickly around here, but that was...
Yeah, it was a small little light shower. It wasn't due, so it's come in, but you can see by the flags that the Scott Redding flags there, but they're just shifting that along, and it's passed straight away. And because of the wind, again a little talking to here, so probably a little warning on wets. This is part of the learning for this class.
Well, race control taking absolutely no risks when that rain shower did suddenly hammer down onto the circuit. And of course we are talking about young riders, very inexperienced riders. Absolutely the right call.
Yeah, and it's quite, actually it's quite a good thing that you can't sort of gamble with tyres in this class. If it's a clear wet race, you have to run wets, and vice versa. So it gives it puts everyone on a level playing field. The only thing being, it's not wets now, so it is what it is. It's been decided, so that's that.
They're probably going to burn up quite quickly, I'd have thought.
Well, 8 laps on these, they'll last. It is what it is. They'll be fine. But
doesn't that shot just kind of sum up the weather we've had? That lovely blue sky and then thunderous, luminous black clouds.
Yeah, well, that's what just passed over. That was where that moisture was tied up in. It's come past. The sun's actually out now where we are. It's just shone over the packed grandstand in front of us. Again, is a really good example. Fraser Rogers there having a word with Dean Harrison. Fraser was superb in yesterday's race. Unfortunately, just touched the white line and down he went. But he'll be well up for the race, Superbike race coming up shortly.
Yep, 2 races to come today for the British Superbike Championship. But I'm sure that the youngsters here in the Talent will be learning from those mistakes as well, and hopefully not repeating them out there, even on these well, I guess interim conditions is maybe the right word to call it. It's not very wet, it's not really dry.
I think it's I think it pretty much is dry, to be honest. Looking at where we are in front, that patch of cloud that came through.
Well, it'll be the restart over 8 laps on wet tyres. Great crowd that we've had here at Assen this weekend, and what has been BSB's first visit to the Netherlands in 6 years.
Yeah, and this Northern Talent Cup, much like our British Talent Cup, is the version for Northern Europe. As we say, there's 11 countries represented in this race: Holland, Germany, Czech Republic, Austria, France, Switzerland, Belgium, Sweden, Finland, Hungary and Denmark. So riders from everywhere. It uses the same spec as everywhere, the Honda NSF 250R, 4-stroke 250 single cylinder. And they run Pirellis here though, rather than Dunlops. It's a little 7-round championship that goes to the Nürburgring, Brno, Sachsenring, Moist, Oschersleben, Assen. So it's a great series, and it's been dominated, absolutely, utterly dominated by Finn Krattenville, and he's just been superb, isn't he? 11 wins, 1 third place, and 1 DNF.
And it's not like he's been in this championship for years and years and years. This is his first year. He's 14 years old.
Yep.
And he has just added to the accolades he has collected across ADAC Mini Bike Cup Championships. He's won 2 of those.
BSB Family on Tour.
No.
Hey.
I like that. That's a great family outing, for sure.
Excellent.
A couple more rounds for them to head to, of course. Alton Park and Brands Hatch coming in the next few weeks.
All heating up, so the guys get ready. It opens at 11:50, which is in 45 seconds. So they'll be out and we'll be underway very shortly after that. So you've got to be a little bit careful sometimes in wet. Think about wet tyres in the dry, which is basically what they're going to be racing on. They've got to watch the curbs, watch the white lines anyway, just because of that little shower won't have dried from there yet. And actually looking at that, if that's coming in, you can see the wind's coming the other way. But if that is sort of blowing, that looks like hopefully what we've had. But if that's kind of behind us, we can't see behind us in the commentary box, obviously. Hopefully that's the rain done. But if that grey does come in again, then maybe those wet tyres are going to be coming in very handy.
Well, they might well do. Did you ever end up in a scenario where you were on, you know, the wet tyres and the track just ended up being completely dry?
And sometimes it just dries out anyway in the race or thin line, and you just got to nurse them to the end. And you know, it happens quite a lot in racing in general ways. Not in this scenario, as in, you know, if you were choosing your tyres, you wouldn't be choosing those right now for this race unless they can see something behind us that we can't. You know, for the 8 laps as well. So, you know, they're going to go out. But the point about the wet tyre, it's got a lot more movement in it because it's ultra soft rubber. It's designed to shift and move water. Well, they haven't got any of that standing water. So, you know, they can overheat. The good thing about these, with just 45 brake horsepower, skinny little tyres, it's not like a super bike that you could smoke a set of wets in, a rear wet in a couple of laps if you wanted to. So these are, you know, they're going to be fine. But my point is, you will have that more movement, kind of that more creep. You know, the front tyre will want to wander a little bit as you put it online. So you've got to be aware of that, and you've got to sort of make amends for that. You can't ride it in the same way you could a slick tyre, which is what they've just been racing on. So you've just got to respect that, and those first lap or two, just be careful. Obviously, because they're so soft, you know, temperature's not going to be a problem. In fact, it's the over temperature that could bother them. And so yeah, that's basically what you've got. As you can see, it's bone dry. That looks like that was probably that impact that we saw on turn 1. As in the rider who didn't go down,
Tommy Pekkanen.
So that was Pekkanen who stayed up, but that was the crunch from the rider that did go down.
And amazingly, that did more damage in that than he did yesterday after he went down with his own fists and his feet.
Fully spat his dummy out yesterday. He was jumping on his bike, hitting it. I didn't like to see that, to be honest. You know, it was his mistake and a bit petulant. But you know, you got to remember we have got 14-year-olds racing in this.
Absolutely. Down this bit of the circuit, it does look a little bit more gloomy and a bit more likely that there's going to be some weather down there. In fact, it does look like it is raining through the Ramshoek as well. Yes, it definitely is. So it's raining here, so definitely the call for wet tyres. I'm sure they'll be relieved because they'll have left the pit lane thinking, it's bone dry, I'm going to burn through this in 2 laps.
Absolutely, and so as you can see, look how dark it's suddenly got as well. So that rain is starting to come down again. So that's, you know, in many ways, that's actually good news for them. You know, the wet tyres are going to be fine. He says, and the rain that wasn't meant to come has come.
Well, the situation you don't want is where you've had some dry running on this wet tyre, you've burned through some of the tread, and then suddenly you get a downpour and your wet tyre is less capable of handling it.
Yeah, and you can just see some light spots that like quick, get off the grid. It is a quick restart, so we are going to get going straight away. And you know, you can see here in front of us is obviously the best bit of the course because it's still quite light here. It's dry. We can't see the rain, but down the other end now you can just even creep in there, isn't it? It's coming our way. So we are just to the left of this. We're looking at that front row from the other side of pit lane.
The 95 being pulled off, that's Jalen Corporal. That is being pulled off of the grid, and wow, this is really suddenly turned. If I look out the window, I can see the rain being swept across the start and finish straight by the wind. So that weather event now arriving at this exact point in the track, but the good news now is they've got the right tyres on.
Yeah, that really is starting to come down quite heavily, and now it's coming down outside our box as well. So you can see that rain really coming in.
It's shaking the camera as well. It's
but it's because it's so windy as well. It's just sort of shifting it on. Important, as I say, what's important, don't touch the white lines, don't run the curbs unless you're nearly upright because you will go down.
So a reminder of how we will line up. It'll be Kratukville, Binder and Erlas on the front row of the grid, then Durdis, Podtilo and Wenzel. Then comes Seagate, Ampran and Rollin. Mellegrin, Lukic and Bolte. Arneson, Krelj and Berzatti inside the top 15. So this is taken from when the red flag came out. We're not going back to the original starting grid. There'll be a gap where Corporal was supposed to be in. I noticed there was a second bike that just came past us as well in pit lane. So we may well be 2 down
That's a really good example there. The look
oh
at
my
that
goodness me!
Absolute, and even here, it's bucketing down there now.
Weatherman James Whittam's come back in for another weather update, shaking his head.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely raining. Good. Okay, so it's going to be frantic, isn't it? Little short race. The question is, you know, can they get amongst it with Crattockville? Because when he gets out in front and he's allowed a few laps to set his pace, not get his feathers ruffled, he's away. So that's going to be the thing. Can anyone sort of keep with him? Yesterday, in the early part of the race, you know, we saw quite a few riders taking the fight to him. You know, Seeger, Kitzbühel, you know, Roland, you know, Anina Erlas as well. So we shall see.
Well, they are being incredibly tentative on this warm-up lap. And look, flag getting caught up in itself because of that wind. So it's been a very cautious sighting lap, warm-up lap to the grid. Once again, Lorenzo Pontillo is the first one back into his grid position, this time lining up in 5th. Started originally on pole position. They can look at the rain just sweeping across, like almost cartoonishly being swept across.
That's the wind. That is your pole man, champion, and you can see they're just getting ready.
8-lap restart here in the Northern Talent Cup. Attempt number 2 to get the final race of 2025 concluded. Finn Crattockville leads them from the pole position restart and is clear. Lorenzo Pontillo making a good start, trying to challenge for 2nd position, but it's the number 21 of Anina Erlas who is challenging for 2nd place, then Pontillo in 3rd. So the Kaifer Racing rider Erlas with a good launch. They're moving up from 3rd to 2nd, trying to bag her 4th podium of the season this year. But it is Crattockville who leads by a few bike lengths coming through the first couple of corners. The rain flag still being shown out there as conditions deteriorate. The grip very different to when they originally got going. Now with the wet tyres aboard, and it is closing up for 2nd place though as Crattockville starts to build up a gap with Erlas being chased by Pontillo.
Yeah, and it looks like, I think it's Emprin as well, number 96.
Yeah,
I think they're in 4th. That's it, that is the move. So it goes through to 2nd there.
Frenchman doing a great job out there, having come up from, I think it was about the 3rd row of the grid, but that's cracking stuff from the French Mini GP champion.
Yeah, and I tell you what, Pontillo looks up for this as well, doesn't he? Up in 2nd, and he's already right on the back of Crattockville. Is he going to have a little look at move up the inside here?
Yes, so dispatched of Erlas a few corners ago and now into the lead of the race ahead of Crattockville, who tries to square the bike up sooner but can't do anything with that. So it is the original pole sitter, Lorenzo Pontillo, who's back into the lead of the race. Swan and Brandt getting swallowed up a little bit there by Roland.
Look at it there. Look at the spray.
Oh my goodness. Their visibility surely is going to be at a bit of a premium at this point of the circuit as they make their way around the Ramshoek. That's not really a part of the circuit, but you want visibility to be a premium.
No, I mean, it won't, you know, obviously it's not ideal. You'll kind of be turning your head a little bit just to let the wind brush it off your visor. You know, they'll have some products on it. You know, it's really important to prepare your visor in these sort of conditions. You know, you'll have a little pin lock inside to stop it steaming, maybe some Rain-X on the outside, depending what you like, or you know, it's very easy to get it wrong in the wet, and you know, it's one of those things as a rider you've got to really make sure that you don't.
Big dive on the inside at turn 1 from Seeger to take 5th position away from Empran. So that is our other race winner of this year, Robin Seeger, the German, up a spot.
Yeah, the only other person to win.
Well, maybe that's going to change today with Lorenzo Pontillo looking quite comfortable out there at the front of the field as it stands. Here comes Anina Erlas taking 3rd position back from Tom Rollin, who didn't seem to get the best exit onto the Veenslang here because getting swallowed up a little bit because through has gone Robin Seeger and a few others as well. I wonder if he's got some sort of problem on that bike. So the number 20's just been swallowed up by 4 or 5 bikes.
Yeah, he's probably had a little moment somewhere and it's cost him. Let's have a little look.
Oh, little. Big moment here for the 85 of Alessandro Binder. So skating through the gravel, crucially keeping it up.
Yeah, really got hooked up there, and that's cost him a lot of time. But it looks like Craddockville's going to go with Pontillo. Just sort of, obviously, they are still feeling it in. You know, Pontillo seems to have just got a feel for the conditions. It is early days, but it's only an 8-lap sprint, so you can't be hanging around.
Valdemar Melgren getting his elbows out and moving up.
Tell you what, they're just pushing it a little bit on that white line there.
And they certainly are moving around a little bit, but there is that yellow number 54 machine from Nordgren Racing, which is looking very good there at the moment.
Yep, the Swedish rider, just Nordgren.
So into the Timmer chicane, he's got, who is it in front of him? Erlas and Seeger squabbling for the last spot on the podium for now, as Craddockville tries to retake Pontillo. Nothing doing into the hard-bot. It's Seeger in third, then Erlas, and then Melgren, who's made up, what, 4 or 5 places already on this restart.
Now, that top 3 all did a 1:59.0 on that first lap, so nothing in it between them.
First flying lap they're completed, as here comes Melgren on the inside into Struven, takes 4th position away from Anina Erlas, demotes the Kaifer Racing rider down a spot, and yeah, that number 54 looking very, very competitive.
Yep, coming through nicely, the Swedish rider. Obviously, all these guys, Northern Europe, they're used to some rain. They're growing up some rain, but Anina Erlas takes it straight back.
Yeah, great stuff. Actually stood Melgren up a little bit. Is he going to return that serve? Yes, he is. So straight back onto the inside.
He muscles it out, though.
Close quarters racing here in Assen in very treacherous conditions, but great promise again being shown by these young superstars.
That was also just see Durdis in the background, just going, there you go. He's just gone past Emperin.
Yeah, so that's the the number 7 that was fighting well up the order earlier on. Hasn't quite adapted to these conditions quite as well.
Yeah, I don't think he got the best of starts either, so coming through. And it is these guys, it is still Pontillo and Craddockville out front, and they've got a bit of a gap now. Yeah, that's probably a second.
Very nearly a second as they make their way through the Ramshoek. We'll get it updated again when they go over the timing split. This has got to be a bit of a nightmare as well, with a wet surface and now the sun's starting to beam down on it. You've been down a motorway and that happens. It's pretty gnarly. Yeah,
I mean, it's yeah, so at least you know it's kind of going to start sort of drying it up a little bit. The rain's completely stopped now, as you say. The sun has come out. There's maybe some little spits in the air here and there, but certainly outside of our commentary box, looking at the sky now, that's stopped.
Yeah, so the weather changing about as often as positions do in the Northern Talent Cup, but look at that, right round the outside.
Yeah, it was Van Tilburg.
Yeah, Manny Van Tilburg there, the Dutch rider, one of 4 on the grid at this home round. 5, actually, I should say.
Yep, and he was having another little look there as well, Van Tilburg. Just having a look at Wenzel.
Yeah, so that is, Benzel, who's, again, not fighting up as high as one would have thought, especially considering his pace earlier in the race. There's Tom Rollin, who we saw get swallowed up a little bit earlier on, seems to have found a little bit more speed. So he goes Van Tilburg there again, although loses out, does he? No, not quite, manages to hang on to the pace ahead of Tudor today. I remember he got pulled off the original grid.
I'll tell you what, Seeger, the man in third, I think he's taking a bit of time out of these guys at the front.
Definitely, that gap is way less. He's bringing with him Melgren, Erlas, and the number 7 of Judah Durdis as well. Sorry, Roman Durdis.
Yeah, if you can see there as well, you're just starting to see already dry patches on the crown of the tarmac. Very banked, you know, over here. They're used to rain, but you're just starting to see it. Obviously, it's still wet in places, but you're just starting to see it break through now. The sun's come out, and you know, Assen is famous for drying quickly, draining quickly. And to see it in the crown there, you can just see it starting to disappear. It's not going to happen in their race, but it's certainly going to be drying quite quickly now.
Let's back through into 4th into the Timmer chicane. The Kaifer Racing rider back up to 4th after Melgren took that place a couple of laps ago. It's closing up very nicely. It's a 10th and a half between Pontillo and Cratticville for the lead of the race as we hit the half race distance now.
Yeah, I think the danger man might be in 3rd as well. You know, Seeger, he's...
or is it Erlas?
Well, I mean, I think Erlas has been tremendous this weekend as well. I mean, another one of these riders that's thereabouts, aggressive, sticking it in there.
Oh no, Melgren trying to take that place back again into Struben. Very, very close quarters racing again, but it is Justinina Erlas who comes out ahead in 4th.
Yeah, and having a really...
Nope, never mind. On the exit, it changed again.
And changed once more.
Yes, with Erlas trying to come back through on the inside. She loves this bit of the racetrack. She's been making plenty of passes here this weekend.
Yep, so we got that top 6 separated by 1.3 seconds. As you can see, Durdas there just making the move on Melgren.
Yeah, so that is for 5th position as well, as they swap places, and it is Pontillo.
Look at the track just drying there.
Dry patches starting to show there as the sun beams down. It really does dry up very quickly here, doesn't it?
Yeah, no spray on this section, but then they're coming into now is the worst section that, you know, where it started raining originally, which is this section. So we'll just look, you see they go back into spray here. So you've got to really be careful as well, because it means the conditions are different in different parts of the track. The good thing is that wet is cooling down their tyres a little bit, you know, compared to the dry bits where they're going to really be starting to overheat them in places.
Well, Pontillo with a nice advantage going into the Timmer chicane at the end of lap number 5. Cratticville more confident on that curb though. He's done that for a couple of laps.
Yeah, because that's my... You can't touch it with angle, but because they've got the bike pretty much stood up there, he's got a tiny bit of angle, but it's even if it slipped, you'd save it at that sort of angle. And it's somewhere you can run it, just level it up and run it. Most of the places you'll see they're staying off the white line, staying off the curb, and for good reasons. You can see Erlas there. She's in 4th, and she's just getting a bit of pressure there. She's got the right line though for here. He's not going to go around the outside, number 7 Durdis.
Yeah, really thought about it, and getting squeezed out onto the white line.
Very close there, very close. But it's a close race here. Lap 6 of 8, and it is still Pontillo that leads.
Fall for the number 71 of William Crouch. It was starting at the back of the grid and was up to 12th position though at the end of that previous lap. Rider okay though.
Yeah, Erlas as well, just moved up to 3rd. So she's up to 3rd now. There's your leaders, Pontillo and Cratticville. And it's Erlas under some pressure from Durdis, not on this lap.
Yeah, Durdis up to 4th, and Robin Seago finished 2nd yesterday. Now shuffled down into about 5th position. That's the first big look we've seen from Cratticville, though, for the lead of the race for some time. Yeah,
I mean, I think you can either hear or see. He seems to have some really good, inherent racecraft, and he knows, hold on a second, people are coming up. He's such a cool customer. You'd expect him just to kind of make a move and start to disappear. And look at this.
Oh, this would be brave through here. So Lorenzo Pontillo leads them around the Ramshook once again. Look at the speed being carried by Durdis, though, trying to take 3rd position away from Erlas. Not quite late enough onto the brakes into the Timmer chicane. And so it's 2 laps to go now, with Pontillo still hanging on to this one. Could well be our 3rd different race winner if it were to finish like this. But here comes Cratticville, the champion, trying to go through into the lead of the race, going into the hard box. And yes, does manage to take the lead. Anita Erlas thought about following him through there, but it's the champion who hits the front with 2 to go.
Yeah, and this is where they've got to be careful, because he's just so good at this. He's timed it. It is the penultimate lap. He's going to now just try and stretch that field. So the question is, what can Pontillo do? Erlas, she's in 3rd. Then we've got Durdis, Seager. But is he going to be your usual winner? Is he going to win it, make it win number 12 out of 14 races and win the last one of the year? He won the first one. Well, he won pretty much all, but will he win the first and will he win the last? Look at that, Erlas.
Pontillo coming straight back at her though, and so great squabbling again for 2nd place. But this is music to the ears of Finn Cratticville, who I'm sure, look at the advantage he's been able to pull in that time. Oh no, contact as Durdis goes down after colliding with Valdemar Melgren.
Just got wrong-sided, and kind of there was nothing you do, kind of full stand up. As you see, he's okay, maybe just clutching his collarbone, but all in one piece. But look at, you know, Crattonville again, he's just, bang, he just pulled the pin, he's gone, and there's nothing they can do. He's just timed it right. His racecraft, his timing, his skill, all coming together. This is the crash. Watch these, the second of the two yellow motorcycles. Here, he gets hooked up and it stands him up, and you know, unfortunately, there wasn't room. Kind of gets put down quite nasty there on his shoulder at one point, but he's up and ultimately okay.
Well, it's going to be one lap to go. Here comes Seeger trying to take second place in one fell swoop, and there was a touch. There was a touch with Pontillo there as Anina Erlas takes advantage of that. Now tries to take Seeger back on the outside. Crattonville has started the final lap of the race. He's nearly 2 seconds clear. Here comes Anina Erlas for second place, but Seeger holds the line.
Yeah, he does, and Crattonville is just on 153.6. They've all been circulating in the 55s, so he obviously had quite a lot in his pocket.
Just giving everyone false hope.
And then, you know, he's pulled it out now. So the real battle is for this second spot. Seeger, Erlas, who's it going to be? Number 11, we can see that is Robin Seeger.
Well, Anina Erlas has not... Oh, that was a big out-of-the-seat moment for Lorenzo Pontillo, though. That surely is going to lose him any hope of trying to finish on the podium now with, look at that, Seeger and Erlas coming through into turns 6 and 7. Seeger, who finished second yesterday, trying to make it back-to-back podium finishes once again. Anina Erlas has not been on the podium since the second meeting of the season at Oschersleben.
Yeah, well, they're looking good now. The three Germans, 1, 2, 3. And hopefully she knows on her board that she's got that 1.2 seconds up on Pontillo's dropped off in his latter stages. And you can see how quick this track is drying. It's incredible. It's nearly dry in this section now. As we come round and, you know, we come out of this section, this is the wettest part of the track, but even the spray here is now considerably less than it was even a lap ago.
Oh, extraordinary stuff once again, and I'm just out of superlatives for Finn Crattonville here. 2.5 seconds clear now of the chasing pack. Is just sitting there, knew exactly what he wanted to do.
Yeah, he does. He seems to have that real racing brain.
So into the Timmer chicane for the final time. It has been the fairy tale season for Finn Crattonville, who is on the road to MotoGP. A 12th win of the season in the Northern Talent Cup. Robin Seeger in second position, and Anina Erlas on the podium for the first time since the beginning of May.
Yeah, so what a win, and you can see it's been hardly fought. Who's going to get that? Oh, I think it was 17 just pipped him. Yes, he did by 2/200ths of a second.
That was great stuff. That was Wenzel pipping Van Tilburg to the line for 9th position. Here comes Pennings on the number 4 machine across the line ahead of Nyland, and Thomas Lukacs will be the last point scorer. Well, look at that camaraderie, all that shaking of hands, high-fiving and fist bumping.
Yeah, nice to see. Crattonville, he said his fastest lap on the last lap, a second quicker than anyone else in the race. All the fastest splits, and
but
it's nice to see they're all having a, you know, getting together, enjoyed that. It is their final race of the year. Remember, they've done 7 rounds, and this was it for them. So, you know, it's a big day. They'll have become friends, become enemies, become all sorts throughout the year. And but it's all about this man. You know, what a job Finn Crattonville has done, and you know, he has demolished them, really. There's no two ways about it. 12 wins, 1 third and 1 DNF. Won the championship in Nürburgring last time out, and he's just he's impressed. There's no two ways about it. He can use his brain, he stays cool under pressure, he doesn't panic, and he seems to know and calculate when to go, when to try and break the pack, and he's been super quick. I'm impressed with him.
I'm eternally fascinated by riders who manage to, in pack racing, somehow always manage to be at the right place at the right time. Because we keep talking, it's one thing being a fast rider or having technical ability, but that racecraft, that somehow just always making the right move at exactly the right time to not be challenged again later on in the lap or anything like that, because we can see sometimes you can make your move too early and then that costs you, but that just never seems to happen with Finn.
No, he doesn't. And yeah, just very, very impressed. And the other man, Seeger, behind him. You know, for him, he's the only other person to win some races. 2 wins for him, taking that fight to Seeger. You know, he's also had a second, 3 thirds, and he's been good, and he deserves his second in the championship.
Very happy for Annina Erlas here. Started off the season with 3 podium finishes on the bounce and has struggled to keep that form going throughout the remainder of the season. But she ends 2025 with another podium finish in 3rd.
Yeah, and I was super impressed with her as well. I mean, I was impressed with her aggression, to be honest, and really muscling it out, and I thought that was a brilliant job.
Results then from the final race of 2025, a 12th victory of the season for Finn Kratikville, 2.9 ahead of Robin Seeger, who makes it back-to-back second-place finishes. Then Annina Erlas on the podium, with Lorenzo Pontillo surviving a last lap scare, Valdemar Melgren late contact, but in 5th, Adam Viscasil, Tom Rollins, Swan Empran, Thijs Wenzel and Manny van Tilburg inside the top 10. Zeno Volte, Alessandro Binder, Casper Pennings, Ruben Nyland and Thomas Lucas completing the points-paying positions. And so the final standings of 2025, 316 points, the final tally for Finn Kratikville, 120 clear of Robin Seeger. Thijs Wenzel is in 3rd position in the championship. We saw Thomas Lucas just outside the top 10 as well. But another great year of racing in the Northern Talent Cup. Many of these riders on their way to MotoGP. Some will be back for a second season and others heading towards the European Talent Cup. We look forward to seeing where they all end up. So we will shortly move on to the podium ceremony and wrap up this 2025 campaign. The weather has turned once again, incidentally. That same horrible storm that was passing through is just doing so again. But here is Finn Kratikville. Again, a big embrace with the Mass Sports by JRP Motorsports team that have guided him in incredible fashion. A truly remarkable campaign for this young man. I believe he's on the way to the European Championship. Look at that big embrace with Dad. Wonderful to see. Although the championship was sewn up a few weeks ago at Nürburgring, maybe this is the sinking moment where it actually becomes reality now that the season is officially over. 2nd place for Robin Seeger there. Another great performance from him. It is an 8th podium finish of the season. 3 consecutive podiums, in fact, including his 3rd place finish at the Nürburgring. But back-to-back 2nd place finishes. And he remains the only other race winner from this 2025 campaign, with victories at Oschersleben and Sachsenring. And how about that? The smile on Annina Erlas's face. A 4th podium of the season, her 1st since Oschersleben on the 10th of May. It's been an awfully long time coming for Annina Erlas. Great background in Mini Bike Cup. And of course, the first woman to finish on the podium here in the Northern Talent Cup. So Finn Kratikville just doing the early debrief. She'll being eventually guided over to the interview pen, but not before some more embraces with the family, the friends, the entourage, the supporters who have come to see this extraordinarily talented young man. Faced with difficult conditions, of course, was leading when the red flag came out and the rain arrived. Again, great calls from race control to intervene when they did, swap us over to wet tyres and get us back racing again, and has been met with all manner of conditions so far today. We will shortly head over to the podium. I think Finn just got the the message there to do so. See, it's already busy down there. Nobody wants to be out in the pit lane in the elements at the moment, and can't really blame them. It's a day for umbrellas and sunglasses, and wet weather jackets and short sleeves. Again, some more final embraces before making their way to the podium to round out this 2025 Northern Talent Cup season. The road to MotoGP will continue next year with more exciting talents coming through the ranks. For now, we will celebrate the incredible year of Finn Kratikville, the year of the rookie, the year of the young German who has rewritten the form book for this championship. So it will be Anina Erlas from Kaifa Racing who will make her way over to the podium, the young German racer. And as I said, after a bit of a hiatus, returns to the podium. Very much looking forward to seeing what she can get up to next year. But a fourth podium in 2025. Robin Seeger with back-to-back second-place finishes, 3 consecutive podiums after a third-place finish at Nürburgring, and an 8th podium of the season. 2 wins included at Oschersleben and Sachsenring. But there is the man of the moment, the 12-time winner in 14 races, Finn Kratikville. As the trophies are handed over, I'm sure Finn Kratikville will be investing in a larger trophy cabinet for 2026. There's a very happy Robin Seeker there. That number 11 machine from the Motor Race Academy, Germany, 14-year-old from Saxony. Also rounding out a great year, a great rookie season in the Northern Talent Cup. Here's the national anthem. Well, what an extraordinary season 2025 has been. The Northern Talent Cup concludes here in Assen. We'll see you in 2026. The final race of the 2025 Northern Talent Cup got off to a blinding start, but contact for Kitzbühel. Not a very happy Sweet 16 for him at the end of the first corner. Battles all the way through the field, with Kratikville taking an early launch, but then some rain came and we had the red flags out before anybody managed to throw it at the scenery. A change onto wet tyres, and it was a familiar face still up front, but Lorenzo Pontillo would challenge him an awful lot and lead the majority of the race. Late contact here with the 85 of Alessandro Binder getting caught up in the gravel, but managing to continue. William Crouch, though, was not able to after falling off his bike. With just a couple of laps to go, Finn Kratikville made his move for the lead, going past Lorenzo Pontillo, trying to make up for the crash he had yesterday. But late dramas here with Roman Durdis falling off the bike after contact with Valdemar Melgren. A quick check to make sure he was okay, but it was a sensational end to a sensational season for Finn Kratikville.